Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
So, just how predictable are you? Very. I heard a very. I think I'm pretty doggone predictable as well. I was telling somebody yesterday at breakfast, if I've been to a restaurant enough times to find something that I like, I will never order anything else in that restaurant ever. Even if they take it off the menu, I ask, can they make it for me anyway? Because I know it's back there, you have the eggs, right? I'm pretty predictable. You can, bank on the fact that after church on Sunday, I'm going home and taking a nap. You can bet on that. I'm pretty predictable. And I think a lot of us are, right? We get into our habits. We do what we do, we like what we like, and it's hard to move us from that sometimes. Actually, I have to say something. I hope I don't embarrass you, PJ, but I was thinking about what I could depend on, and something in my heart told me that I could pretty much depend that if it's a beautiful day, around noon I could drive by your house and you'd be sitting in the front yard playing with the dogs, right? So we are very predictable beings. But we just came through the Lenten season where Jesus showed us that by walking through his arrest, his death, and his resurrection, that we can let something in us that no longer serves us die. We can let it pass. We can leave it at the cross. Then we can move the stone away from our consciousness, and we can rise to a higher level of consciousness. We can be born again. We can rise anew, as Jesus did. So this might be a really good time for all of us to start doing something different. So while you think about that, I'm going to read you one of my favorite after Easter stories. Before Jesus ascended, but after he resurrected, he visited the disciples 3 times. Well, this was the 3rd time he visited them. And before he came around, Peter had decided he was going to go ahead and just go back to fishing. Jesus was gone, he was just going to go back to being a fisherman. So he says, I'm going fishing. And the other disciples said, we'll go with you, let's go. So they all jumped in the boat and they went out fishing, right? And in the morning, now they didn't get any fish, not a one, nothing. And have you ever felt that way, like maybe at work or at home, and you're like working, you think you're running around and getting nothing accomplished? Or at least it feels that way. So this is pretty much what they were doing. They were toiling all night long to no avail. They caught no fish. I love this. Peter says, I'm going out to fish. Simon Peter told them, and they said, we'll go with you. So they went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He called out to them, friends, haven't you any fish? No, they answered. He said, throw your net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some. When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. So Jesus told them, throw the net on the right side of the boat. So can you just imagine yourself in your prayer and meditation time, casting your net off to the right side. Casting your net off to the right side. And when you bring it in, you're bringing in joy and wisdom and kindness and love. And when you cast it, you are casting away resentment and fear and anger to bring back in joy and love and peace, power, life, and zeal. And so much of it that they can't even haul it into the boat. They actually have to get out into the water and pull the net up onto the shore. They've caught so many fish by casting the net on the right side. So I love to imagine myself doing that for quite a while, actually, after Easter. I love to, just the feeling. I love the way that it feels. I like, you guys have gotten to know me a little bit, and you know that I like rituals and I like movement, right? So I love the idea of being able to cast away and then to haul back in. And I always use the right hand, right side of the boat. Jesus says, do that, and you will find them there. There they are. I love that story. But the thing I really love the most about that story is that the disciples don't recognize him. They do not know that it's Jesus until after a little bit, then they start to realize it's Jesus. But they don't get that at first. They don't know who this guy is out on the shore because he has been resurrected new. There are several stories in the Bible where that happens. A blind man can see, and suddenly his parents, they think it's him, but they're not exactly sure if it's him because he's been born again. He is a new person. He is unrecognizable even to those who know him well. So here's Jesus telling them, cast the net. And they're doing it, but they're not sure who he is. That's a wonderful message for us. That when we choose to resurrect, we should be unrecognizable. So what would you have to do to be unrecognizable today? Not be so predictable today. Time to start doing something different. Try starting with the things that don't matter. Drive to work a different direction. Do it a different direction every day. What else could you do? Walk a different way around the block. Instead of, after your prayer and meditation time, because I know you all take prayer and meditation time in the morning. After your prayer and meditation time, choose something different to do than you would have before. How many of you, your partners, absolutely know what movies you will and won't go see? Yeah, absolutely no. No, my partner's not going to go see that. I'm going to have to do that one with my girlfriend. No. So maybe this time you go to that movie. Maybe you even make it your suggestion. Would they recognize you at all if you did that? You know, somebody's husband come up and say, "Oh, honey, I really want to go see a chick flick today." I'm sure his wife would be looking at him like, "Who are you?" And who took my husband? But that's the point, right? Not to be predictable, to be unrecognizable, to be born again. What happens when we do that is we open our hearts, our souls, our minds. We open ourselves and are available for new information, for new concepts, new ideas. We are open to growing. And sometimes it's just a matter of the exercise. That's why I said start with things that aren't important, and you'll find out that they're all important. Right? They all matter if we start doing things differently. How many of you have like a meditation chair or a TV chair or a sit somewhere else? Ooh, that was going to be hard. Sit somewhere else. Eat dinner a little bit different time tonight. Go somewhere you would never have gone before. For me, that would be down to the beach, in the sand, in the sun. I mean, I grew up in Florida, and I have had about this much of the sand between my toes and down my clothes and in my car. I am just full. But you know what? I think that's something I'm going to need to do. I'm going to go down to the seashore, take my prayer and meditation time there. Maybe what will happen is those ideas of how hot and sticky and yucky the beach can be will change for me. Maybe I'll get down there and I'll have the best spiritual experience ever and decide that that's now the only place I ever want to meditate. You know? Do something different today. My daughter, and I do have permission to tell this story. And any time I tell a story about my daughter, I've always checked with her to make sure it's okay. She thinks it's kind of funny. But one day she contacts me and she is just beside herself. She has to admit something to me and she knows I'm going to be really, really, really mad. She knows it. She knows it. I am probably the most predictable to her than anybody else on the planet. She's known me her entire life. She could tell you what I would wear, what I would eat, what I would say, or at least she thinks she would, right? I love to mix it up. And it just so happened to happen while I was doing this meditation about throwing my net out on the right side and bringing back love, so much love that I couldn't even get around it, right? And through this process of talking with her about this event, for a nanosecond my head went, and then I remembered what I'd been doing that morning. I remembered that I had been throwing out all the fear and all the anger and all the resentment and all the fear and all the fear and all the fear. And I was bringing in lots and lots of love. And that gave me the opportunity to hear her differently. It gave me the opportunity to hear how upset she was by it. How much she was punishing herself already for it. And how much she regretted her actions. There was absolutely no need for me to do any of that for her. But if I hadn't been open and available and quiet, I would not have heard that. I'd have been grumbling under my breath, but I heard it, I felt it more than anything else. And so what I was able to give her was some of that love, the guidance, the understanding. Don't get me wrong, at no time did I tell her it was okay. But I was able to tell her that everything was going to be okay. That God's got it. God's at the helm. God uses everything for good. I was able to tell her the things that I absolutely know in my soul. And I promise you, she had absolutely no idea who I was. So I hope today that you guys will think about doing something different. Try to exercise that muscle. My partner and I have been in the process of, thank you so much. We've been in the process of, well, what we basically did with our house and everything in it was we threw it all up in the air, let it land back down, emptied every single room. Not all at the same time, because that'd be hard, right? Every single room in the house, and have been taking it, putting them back together piece by piece, which has just been fascinating for us. No, we haven't bought anything new or anything like that, because We've lived there a long time. We got plenty of stuff and plenty of things. But we've been rearranging where they go. Wow, this table's been here for 25 years. Let's move it over here. And it looks so much better over here. Or you got that teacup. I have no idea where that ever came from. So maybe it doesn't absolutely have to be in the china cabinet that's crammed so full of stuff you can't appreciate any of it, right? Maybe this rug doesn't have, and it's just been this incredible process of being willing to look at things differently. Even though, honestly, before we threw the whole house up in the air, we really did think it was absolutely perfect. That's the cool part. And then as we're doing it, we're really like having this experience together of being open and willing to do things differently. You know how attached we can get to our homes, right? So it's been a wonderful experience, and I would really recommend that each one of you try something, anything, lots of things. Try lots of things. Check out your neighborhood. If you've been taking the same route out of your neighborhood for years and years and years, take another one. See a house you've never seen before. Take a walk. Take a bike ride. Go see a movie you wouldn't see. Buy some new cheese at the store. Yeah, I always get my hard cheddar. Well, go buy some Munster. Do something. Just mix it up. Do it for your soul. Do it for your mind. Do it for those around you. And make sure that you have witnesses, because that's the fun part, is to really see those people who love you and care for you go,